Welcome back, party people. Yet another day, and hopefully yet another dollar. It's the BMR NBA show brought to you by Bookmakers Review. I am Jordan Sharp. That, of course, is my guy, Junior Browne. We got a big 9-game Wednesday slate to get into here in just a second. But quickly, JB, I know you had a nice day yesterday. How'd you end up on Tuesday's slate?
Yeah, another 2-0 day, 4-0 to start the week, so that's always good. Looking to just keep that going. Hopefully some of y'all tailed. Jordan hit his pick, so we've been cashing tickets around here. We appreciate y'all for always tuning in, supporting the show. Let us know your picks in the chat. Let's keep sharing these wins as a community. Let's do this. You fucking take all these bookies' goddamn money, son.
It's always fun. I was definitely on a little bit of a slump, from the day before Christmas or day before Christmas Eve to the 27th or something. The last 2 days, or at least yesterday, was very nice. Yesterday felt good. I'm hoping to parlay that into 2 days in a row here of wins. But yeah, yesterday hit Omer. You're at 7. My guy got his points, rebounds, assists, prop for us. Depending on what number you got, if you got that opening line, you definitely cashed. Depending on what his other, I don't know exactly what he closed at, but he was right around there. He definitely cashed his rebounds prop for pretty much everybody. So that was another one that I had that was a personal play. But yeah, yesterday, a pretty wild slate. Bucks got the cover. Weathered an Orlando run in the third quarter, but still got it done regardless of what line you got. Won by 17. The Philly game, man, I didn't watch much of that, but I went back and watched some of the highlights here this morning. I just get the feeling that Joel Embiid's prime is being wasted in Philadelphia, man. Just bad coaching, bad front office decisions from when they let Jimmy Butler go and gave Tobias Harris $1 bazillion in his stead. I mean, and everything going on this season. It just seems like he just has to go out there and carry this team. And it's not. I understand they have dysfunctional personnel issues with Ben Simmons too, but man, Can we get Joel Embiid out of Philly? I'm sorry, Sixers fans, but your organization has just taken the complete turn downward from where it was a rocket ship just a few years ago upward. But I digress. Miami ended up getting the cover barely. I know that was a big sweat for you, my guy, but definitely got those Wizards, man. They don't give up. I was watching the end of that game, sweating the year 7 play. And man, they Kispert, these guys, it doesn't matter who's in. They just keep firing at you and coming at you and playing hard. So props to the Wiz for keeping that one interesting. But yeah, that opening line cash for Miami yesterday. Speaking of snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, the Lakers should have lost that game yesterday. Houston just absolutely collapsed down the stretch, just could not have a good possession there in the last 3 or 4 minutes of that basketball game. The Lakers pretty lucky they are continuing their losing streak here tonight into Beale Street. We'll get into that one here in just a second. You were right on New York. It ends up Minnesota's had a little false flag issue with their injury report yesterday. So ended up not having too many guys yesterday. New York ended up getting the cover on that one pretty easily. And you were also right. The New Orleans Pelicans, man, speaking of also snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, Cleveland dropped 39 points on them in the first quarter, and they just came back. And once again, not having a point guard and being a young team down the stretch kind of hurts. And Ricky Rubio, I know, went down on the final 2 minutes of that game. I hope his knee injury is not serious because, man, he was having a hell of a game last night, too. I also rode with you on that under yesterday. Props to you on that one. I was just basically screaming at my television for Garrett Temple to stop making three-pointers that entire second half. But ended up getting the number here for that. I believe I had 213.5. Not sure what you had, but it ended up getting the cash. If you had anything 212 or higher. In those last 2 games of the season, Sacramento ended up beating Oklahoma City, getting the cover, and Denver, lo and behold, coming from behind and in a very low-scoring game, beating the Golden State Warriors in an impressive win, 89-86. Anything else stick out from you yesterday, JB? Are you ready to roll into today's slate?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll today's slate. I mean, I got I'm not going to say lucky because when I lose by those same margins, I don't say I'm unlucky. It's just the game, and that's just the way the game goes. The margins are small in this game. Yes. Miami covered by 1. And that under hit by 1. Just looking to keep it going. I've been trying to get my Montreal Expos logo in this shot here, but it's not working for me. So I'm ready to move on, Jordan.
That's vintage right there. Love the X.
Yeah. Since you just said that, Blue Jays suck, but let's move on. Let's do this.
We're starting beef even during a lockout in baseball. All right, let's get this rolling. We got stuff to talk about today. Let's start it off with the Clippers heading into Beantown to play Boston tonight. Obviously, Tatum's still out for Boston. Marcus Smart questionable. The Clippers, I should say. dealing also with some injury issues of their own, will not have Paul George for the next few weeks. And so how are we looking at this game, JB? Because I feel like this number is pretty sharp, first off, is the first thing I thought about this. I think the total also is very sharp because I was getting ready to hammer the under if this was anything over 210 points and a 105 or more first half total. And as you see, it is not. I think the first half total is 102. So Reggie Jackson obviously missing also as well, but with Batum for the Clippers, ton of offense for these guys missing. So you got to think this is going to be a pretty low scoring game. But then again, I don't trust Boston at all. Like I could very easily see the Clippers with a lot of their backups and their two best offensive players coming in, still giving them problems and getting the cover here. And it's why I just cannot make a play. You couldn't pay me money to put on the Boston Celtics this year. And I am pretty happy with the Clippers at times, but it's just not a position where you feel confident betting them right now. So anything on this game, my guy?
No, I mean at this number, it would have to be Celtics for me. The problem is that I don't trust the Celtics enough to lay this many points. I need at least a 6.5 if I'm going to take the Clippers in their current state. So yeah, that's just why I'm staying away. And I'm glad you agree with something that I was thinking, that for me, if the total was anything above like 210, 212, I was going to bang the under. Yeah. This number is pretty damn sharp. So. Yeah, Boston hasn't looked good in the last couple. I know that they had a tough loss to Milwaukee, who's one of the best teams in the league. They had an ugly loss to Minnesota, where I'm pretty sure that was a game where Jaylen Brown was like, "This is our worst loss of the season." He was taking some responsibility, which you love to see. But at some point, they're going to have to just start putting it together, right? Because we've played a pretty big chunk of the season so far. The Celtics aren't very good. They're not terrible, but I judge. Listen. One thing that I try to do, obviously, other than being unbiased in this game, is judge teams by the expectations that they set. If you told the Celtics preseason that through 32 games or 34 games they'd be 16-18, they'd be like that ninth in the East, their fans would jump out the window. So the season has been really, really poor from them. Brad Stevens is sitting in the front office now. This new coach is not really working out. Which again, it's too early to pass judgment, but all of this I'm saying is my way of saying it's 6 points is too many to lay with this group of players, this roster, the way that they're playing, and it's 6 is not enough to take for me with this Clippers team. So I guess this line is just too sharp. I'm out. I'm off it. Yeah,
I'm kind of there with you, man. It seems pretty right around that 2 possession mark. And as I said, that total is sitting right at that number where I'm like, I want to bet the under, but I'm not quite there yet. And I saw it this morning. I said, if this first half total comes out anywhere, above or right at half of what the full game total is, I'm going to slam the under 2, because Boston's been incredible first half defensively, at least over their last 5 games. They're first in the league. I think over the last 8, they're somewhere hanging around the top 5 defensively, whereas the Clippers have been very bad offensively in that same kind of stretch. And you're adding in them missing their 2 best offensive players in Reggie Jackson and Paul George. Yeah, it's tough. I will say that Boston first half does kind of have some appeal, but without Tatum, that's already a huge strike against them. Now you're telling me they may also be without Marcus Smart. I mean, it's just tough for me to see. We talked about the lack of point guards in these spots. It's tough to predict because things can get wild when guys that aren't used to handling the ball all the time, the ball is shoved in their hands for the majority of the game. So, yeah, tough to bet this one. We can move on. I got the Hawks heading into Chi-Town tonight to play the Bulls. Bulls 8.5-point favorites. Total is just the skyrocketing upward, 220 to 223. I'm seeing 224s, 225s now popping up on the board. What does the Sharps know that we don't? Other than the fact that the Hawks defense is atrocious and they're probably going to get torched by Chicago one way or the other tonight. Bulls, though, that 8.5 number with Trae Young and Cam Reddish both out there playing very good basketball. Hard for me to see the Bulls, being a lock to cover this game. That would be where I would lean, I think. If there is anything I would bet on this game, because now you're getting to a point where this total is just very, very high, and I'm questioning what I'm missing in that, other than the fact that the Hawks are going to give up a ton of points. So is the Bulls team total I need to look at here for this game? Because I haven't yet found a value spot in this game that I like. There are some enticing positions that I think could be value spots, but nothing that I've seen so far, JB. What do you think? I'm on the right track, and are we just auto? Is definitely Bulls or nothing, right? There's no way, nothing in the world that would make you want to bet the Atlanta Hawks tonight, right?
I mean, I've been all over the Bulls after initially hating on them to start the season, and I've been cashing with them a lot. I'm actually on the over 114.5 first half total. And the reason being is in the last couple of weeks, so the Bulls in the last 2 weeks are 4-1 overall. Their first half defense has been second from last in the league in terms of defensive efficiency. The reason that they've been able to get away with that is because they've had the number one offense in the league in terms of efficiency in the first half as well. So there's no kind of defense being played by them for now. I think that's an anomaly because overall they're a really good defensive team. They're just not starting off these games playing well defensively. And their last couple of games, they've been scorching in the first half in the mid to high 60s. And we know that the Atlanta Hawks don't play no kind of goddamn defense. So if the trend continues where the Bulls start off slow defensively, the Hawks can maybe get something going just because they're a good offensive team. Got Trae Young back. I just don't think there's going to be – I'm not going to say that there's not going to be a whole lot of defense played because 114.5 points is still a lot of damn points. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I think this is a lock. I'm just kind of trying to follow the trends and ride this wave with the Bulls where the trends that I'm spotting have been working for me. The trend that the Hawks don't play any defense no matter what, the first half, second half, first quarter to fourth quarter, they don't play no defense, no time. So I know I can count on that. I know I can count on the Bulls to play offense. The one tricky part of my equation here is the Bulls, who have been good defensively for most of the season, pretty much the whole season. Is this weird little trend going to continue where in the last 5 games, their defense in the first half is just garbage? I'm not really sure. I hope so, but at least 2 out of 3 in terms of my thinking for this play makes me feel pretty solid in terms of the combination of the Hawks offense and the Bulls offense, which can't really seem to be stopped right now, will help me hit this over. So that's an official play for me. Over 114.5 first half.
I like it. I think that also, the Hawks are definitely lucky they have Trae Young back because DeLon Wright into protocol now. He was playing very well while Trae Young was in protocol. So that at least gives them, the boost they need for your play as well. And on top of that, I think that with Trae Young back, the Bulls are going to struggle to guard him because their 2 most qualified defenders for him are both out tonight, Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. And I mean, you put Patrick Williams up there, who's been out most of the year now with a ligament tear. These are solid defensive players that they're not going to have tonight. So yeah, I agree. I think you're definitely on the right track. Derek Jones Jr. also questionable, Mr. Airplane mode. So and McKinney, even a guy who was giving them solid minutes that they signed for the rest of the season, and then he gets put in protocol. So I mean, Bulls definitely hurting defensively, at least on that side of the ball. Probably won't be hurt offensively though too much here. We gotta get on to the next one here real quick because this is I know JB and I are definitely on the same page on the Memphis Grizzlies hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. We mentioned in the open, the Lakers just absolutely should not have a game yesterday. The Rockets were staying with them basically the entirety of that game, and then they just collapsed. It was more so the Rockets collapsing last night than the Lakers winning. And now you're faced with an opponent who's much better, who's only missing really one of their players, who got Ja Morant back, who has been playing very, very well at home. And you have a tired Lakers team coming in who may be looking at this stretch that they're currently on, which is a back-to-back and a 3-game and 4-night stretch because they play again on Friday. This may be Memphis barbecue chicken time, to say the least. This is a game where they could very easily use the momentum of the crowd being more rested and having probably a more healthier unit as well, just with Anthony Davis being out and the Lakers being forced to play LeBron James most of the game at center, which I mean works out offensively, but defensively it's going to be an atrocious tonight. You've seen that lately with that AD being out. Lakers, one of the worst teams defensively in first half so far, giving up about 120 points per 100 possessions during that stretch. Won't be too long-winded here because I know JB has the similar thoughts on this one here, but I wrote this up for BMR. Grizzlies first half. Grizzlies offense has been insanely good at home in the first half this season. They're second best in the league. I think they see an opportunity to get a big lead on the Lakers, step on their necks in the second half. I think the Lakers will probably easily fold if that's the case. And we'll get ready for their New Year's Eve game. So Memphis, I got them at 2.5 actually, which I'm feeling even better at. I shopped around a little bit more and found a 2.5 number. So JB, what do you have to say on this game here? Are we on the right track here with this Memphis first half play?
The Lakers are not a good basketball team right now. If you follow me on Twitter, please go look at my last post, and I'll just leave it at that. I thought I missed out on this because I know it opened at Memphis -2.5, I think, right? And now it's at 3. I'm on Memphis -3 in the first half. Memphis is just a good team, and they've been playing well, especially in the first half. They've been playing well at home. They have the third best defense in the first half of the last couple of weeks, and just overall this season, they've been very consistent, right? Since Ja Morant was wildly disrespected. They've turned it up a notch, and I just don't think that the Lakers can match their energy. I love to use stats and throw stats at you, and again, I could back up what I'm saying with stats. That's not a problem. But the energy is just different between these two teams. One team has that hunger in their belly, and they're on the rise. The other team is full of turmoil. The other team is trying to figure out. Didn't LeBron say yesterday, we don't have a single lineup that works or a single lineup that has chemistry? I'm pretty sure he said that yesterday. That is not the case for Memphis because, again, they were just missing their best player. And they were playing so well that some of the bozo-ass fans that they had were trying to say that Ja Morant should sit out. So these are teams in two completely different mind states. If I could get the better team, I'm not saying when the playoffs start, Memphis will be better than the Lakers. But until further notice, the Lakers got some ways to go to be as good as Memphis is right now. Obviously, the Lakers' ceiling is much higher than Memphis' ceiling. But how long are we going to keep saying this before it just becomes talk? You're giving me the better team at less than one possession at home, rest advantage. Give me them youngsters from Memphis to barbecue these Lakers.
How do just real quick, because we got to talk about the Lakers here for just a second. Like, what move do they have that's going to make them a better basketball team than they are right now? It's just getting healthier, right? And even if they're healthy, even if they're 100% healthy, they're still projected to be kind of right around that tier of the play-in game, right? I think we're there, man. I've seen a 30-plus games. I know the injuries have been an issue. I know health and safety protocol has not been kind to them. I know they've had very little opportunity to gel as a team. And I know they also probably have the buyout market that they can manipulate here later if COVID dies down later in the spring. And they could start to gel. I know all of these things have possibilities of happening. But from you're exactly right. I mean, I don't think we have to question it anymore, man. I think until further notice, until things improve with their health, or until things improve with their roster, and they possibly can flip Russell Westbrook or something, or get and do something based on the buyout market that brings in a couple of more veterans to give them more depth. Like, I think we're there, man. I think we can write off the Lakers as championship contenders this year. I haven't seen it. I didn't see it before the season started. I haven't seen it now. It's pretty much a long shot to me to think that they could even get to that point with all the things that I just mentioned. Like, I personally, I guess it's not a question, not just a statement. I think we're there. I think we can excuse the Lakers in the Western Conference this year until further notice, man.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, honestly. I just think that, history tells me that writing off LeBron is sketchy. But the point is, he's at a point in his career where he can't do that thing that he was doing in Cleveland, where he just puts the whole team on his back and carries them to the finals.
He also had Kyrie Irving in Cleveland. To be honest, I would take Kyrie Irving over Anthony Davis, and definitely would take him over Russell Westbrook. I mean, let's be completely honest. I know AD is a monster when healthy, but that's the big if. It's when healthy.
Listen, you don't got to sell me on Kyrie. I think Kyrie is wildly disrespected by people. Oh, yeah. People act like if Kyrie didn't hurt his knee the first time, they probably would have beaten Golden State more than once, if we're just being honest. So Kyrie was cooking Steph Curry in all them finals.
Love was out there too. Like they were decimated.
Yeah. Come on, bro. Let's just be real.
Yeah, we could talk about this all day. We got to move on. Let's go down to the Valley of the Sun here. The Phoenix Suns playing host to the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. Huge favorites. Suns at 14.5 or 15, depending on what you look at it. OKC obviously a little banged up, coming off a game. This one is probably a complete stay-away spot for me. It just the spread-wise of things. Total-wise, though, I could see a spot here where the Suns Yeah, they kind of tend to play with their food a little bit, right? When it's a team they can handle and they know they can handle. So like that's in no way going to make me load up the Smokelahoma City train tonight and take the points. But it would be an opportunity, I think, to bet the over here, and I think that's where you're seeing the line movement. So if there's any lean I have on this game, it would be on the over because one, I think the Suns could just say like, we don't need to play a ton of defense tonight. We could smoke these guys and drop 125 pretty easily tonight without breaking too much of a sweat. OKC, on the other hand, I think if they're being disrespected, they have definitely the ability to get to that 105 mark or so here to make this total go over. So only play I could see with that would be that with it tonight. But is there value in the spread here side of things? Because I do think that there is the potential for Phoenix to say, hey, this is a definite look ahead spot. Like we don't have to play too hard tonight.
Oklahoma City is the most disrespected team in the league by the market. It's just really that simple. It's Oklahoma City or nothing, in case you're wondering, guys, watching this show. Do I think Oklahoma City is a good team? Clearly not. I'm not. All four of these eyes work. They're not a good team. They're obviously completely garbage. Do they cover spreads? Yeah, they do. They actually are the fourth best ATS team in the entire league. They've covered like 7 of their last 8 spreads. Even head-to-head against Phoenix, they covered like 8 of 10. They cover spreads, and you know who's not covering spreads right now? The Phoenix Suns, by the way. Phoenix hasn't covered the spread in like a couple straight. Like they haven't been covering spreads. I'm trying to pull up this number here. I've been burned by the Suns enough to know because obviously, we make picks on the show, but it's a long-ass day. They're not the only picks that we make throughout the course of the day. They're the picks that we make on the show. I've made picks on the Suns that I have not said on the show that have burned my ass. So I know that these mofos ain't covering spreads right now. So and it's like Jordan said, they don't really have to give maximum effort to win this game, which kind of seems to happen to them a lot, which I think burns them when they have big games on the horizon. They're obviously, a really good team, but they haven't covered the spread in the last 3 games. So I'm not laying 14.5 points against a team that doesn't cover spreads, or at least lately, against the 4th best ATS team in the league. Again, OKC loses games by an average of like 7.5 points a game. So clearly they stink. But that's not the business that we're in. We're in the business of reading the market and making the best decision and picking the best price according to what the market is, right? And the market right now is not pricing Oklahoma City properly. So that's why I say they're the most disrespected team in the market. Because look at the teams. Okay, look at the top 5 ATS teams in the league. Our top 4 ATS teams is Cleveland, Golden State, Chicago, Oklahoma City. Now, 3 of those 4 teams have very good records. And then there's Oklahoma City, who are all the way at the bottom of the barrel. So the market makers can get teams very, very wrong on both ends of the spectrum, which is why you can't just always bet on the favorites or make money in the long run that way. You sometimes got to be able to sniff out when the market can't price the bottom feeders properly, and that's the case. Like, for example, the most obvious of that is the Lakers, right? The Lakers are the most overvalued team in the market because they're the fucking Lakers. The Lakers are the 2nd worst ATS team in the NBA. So in the same way that where you can be a super good team or at least in name, have that name recognition, you'll get overvalued when you don't have that name recognition like Oklahoma City to go along with lack of talent, if we're just being honest. you can be undervalued a lot of the time. So yeah, I say that to say it's Oklahoma City or nothing in this spot.
15 in an NBA game, regardless of circumstance, is a ton of points. And I think we talked about this last week because I wasn't on the show Monday, or maybe I can't remember when we last talked about this, but I think it was last week before Christmas. Since Oklahoma City got blitzed by the Grizzlies by like 70 points or whatever it was, they're 6-5 straight up. They're 8-3 against the spread. And they have the 7th best defense in the NBA. That's an 11-game stretch. Like, you're right. Like, it has been kind of a click moment for them since then. And they've gone on and also won 6 of their last 7 ATS. So do with that what you will. It's not going to be me betting Smokelahoma City, but as most of you know who watched the show in the past, I am ready and willing to do it on most nights. But Suns have also lost 2 straight. Like, if they come in here and take them seriously and say we need to get right and get right on defense first, they're going to hold these guys to under 100 points pretty easily. Like that much is clear to me. So that's kind of why I don't want to get involved in this game, because I could very much see it going either way. But you're right, it's just a ton of points, man. You're right, it's at least 2 or 3 too many for sure.
It really is. Go ahead, Jordan. I don't have nothing else to add.
I didn't either. I wanted to give you the opportunity to, if you had something, but if you don't, let's get to this last game here. It is the Utah Jazz, heading into Portland tonight to play the Blazers. Got a big total in this one. Basically the biggest total of the night, 228 points. That has come down from 230. So it does seem like the books overestimated just a little bit on that one based on personnel issues. But, man, Portland here has just been faded big time here in the early line movement. Jazz opened up as a 5-point favorite, which I wish I would have seen that, because I probably would have bet the Utah Jazz, because Portland's one of those if they're on the Mount Rushmore of auto fades on this show for sure. Right up there with a few other teams that we've mentioned here already today, Boston being one of them earlier in the show. But do you have anything on this one here? Is it Jazz or nothing here also? And if Utah does kind of come in here, and I know their defense is wildly different on the road sometimes, but they've been closing that gap this year a little bit more than they have in seasons past. And Portland, we know, doesn't play too much defense. So is the line moving here, the steam and the under and towards the favorites correct here, do you think? And what do you have anything, if any, on this game?
Nothing on this game, but listen, there's obviously one very serious problem for Portland. That's no Nurkic against Gobert and Whiteside. That's a disaster for Portland. So let's just say Portland probably goes, okay, so the only way we could cope with this is to go small ball, which means they're going to jack up a lot of threes, which they do anyway. The Jazz are one of the best defensive teams in the league versus the three. So, and that's all of that. What I just said is on top of the fact that Portland has no chance of slowing down Utah. Like they just can't. They are incapable of playing that level of defense, not because of any other reason. Forget about the fact that they're missing Nurkic. Even with Nurkic, they're just a terrible defensive team. They're the third worst defensive team in the entire league. So when you're missing the one big guy that you have that can put up some resistance against Utah's big guys, your only option is probably to go small ball. And I don't think that they can out small ball Utah. I actually really don't. No. You would think that they possibly could, but Utah's offense is so efficient and their defense is so good that I mean, listen, I didn't play this game because I feel like it's a square play. I also missed out on the best part of the number. It was at 5, now it's at 7. I'm not taking it over 6. But I got, here up here in the north of the border from where you're at, Jordan. They legalized 1 game plays. Like it used to be, like if you wanted to play like the lottery has sports betting, right? So,
yeah, you had to parlay it though, right? Yeah.
It had to be a parlay. You couldn't.
Delaware used to be in a few other states here. Yeah, I remember that. Remember those days?
You couldn't make any straight bets, but now that these guys be taking straight bets, I might make a little something. Just go to walk over to the convenience store right here across the street, make a little quick play on this, because I don't really see how Portland can stop this Utah team at all. So it'll just be a little sprinkle because it does feel kind of like a square bet. But yeah, for me the thing that puts this bet over the top is that Utah's actually one of those teams that defends the three really well, on top of the fact that they make a high volume of them. So I think that you combine that with Portland's lack of defense, they could be catching a whooping tonight.
Another real quick before we wrap up, another thing that I think makes this game bettable especially is even with Donovan Mitchell out, I still think there's value in the Jazz here. That it would be absolutely where I would lean here, not only because you can't trust Minnesota or Portland to stop them at all, but even without Mitchell, I think that the books are overcompensating a little bit for him. Not so much a knock on Donovan Mitchell, but it's just how good the Jazz are depth-wise at the guard position. I mean, it just means more minutes for Bogdanovic, more Joe Ingles, more Jordan Clarkson, more Mike Conley. People are going to be introduced to Trent Forrest, who is a baller. He's going to get some minutes tonight. They are well positioned to compensate for Donovan Mitchell being out, and I think that the books may not be referencing that too much. Also, could be a nice position to attack some of these props on those aforementioned guys, just because one of them they're going to try to spread out Donovan Mitchell's usage as much as possible. But I mean, Gobert's not going to get much more. O'Neal's not going to get much more. It's going to be the guards and the wing guys for this team that get hot. And if they do get hot and are dropping 125 or whatever, how many points whatever their implied total is tonight, it's 120 or so. It's gonna get ugly tonight, and it could be a nice prop opportunity for them as well. We are out of time. We got to get out of here, but let's wrap it up with our official picks real quick. JB, I'll let you go first here because I know you got a ton of them here tonight. Tell the people what you got tonight.
Not a ton, but I got 2. I've been going 2 picks a day for the last couple of days, trying to go 2-0 again. Hawks Bulls first half over. 114.5 is a lot of points, but again, the Bulls first half offense has been dominant lately. The Hawks obviously are a good offensive team, and the one thing they are not is a good defensive team. So I do think there's going to be a lot of points in that first half. The Bulls, by the way, in the second half, they haven't been great lately. So I think they stick to the script, which is putting teams away early and hanging on in the end. And let me get the better team. The Memphis Grizzlies -3 first half over this version of the Lakers, which is they could have lost last night to the Rockets. So that and the Grizzlies have the rest advantage. Give me those Grizzlies. What you got, Jordan? I like that you're riding with me.
Give me the Grizz first half as well. It's definitely my favorite play on the board. There will in fact be whoop that trick on the PA speaker tonight from the FedEx Forum. Absolutely happening because with the Lakers in town, that building is going to be jacked. I've talked about this before. It's definitely an opportunity to buy. I think with low potentially in the Grizzlies because as you mentioned earlier, man, Lakers one of the most overvalued teams ATS-wise in the entire league, if not the most. And it's once again proving that tonight with them banged up on the second night of a back-to-back. Don't even know who's going to be playing for them yet because there's no injury report. So it can hopefully only get better from here. I got riding with you on that one. So days we're on the same pick, man. It usually works out pretty well. So hope that continues here tonight. Best of luck to you, everybody out there on all your NBA picks here tonight. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to all of our video content. Make sure you check out Bookmaker Review. Definitely a lot of great handicapping content on there as well, video and otherwise. Shout out to the Montreal Expos one more time for that, please, JB. But for my guy, Junior Browne, I'm Jordan Sharp. Best of luck to you on tonight. We'll see you back here on Thursday, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific.